I did not see that one coming story. I was 21 and broke, living in a tiny guest house behind this old couple's house while going to college 3 hours from home. The place was perfect for a poor student, cheap rent, quiet neighbors, and I could walk to campus. I'd been there for 2 years already. My landlords were super private people. Never really talked much beyond the basic hello when I saw them working in their garden. All my rent payments went through some property management website, and whenever I had questions about the water heater or whatever, I'd email this guy called Mr. Foster who handled everything. The setup worked great for me. I minded my own business, they minded theirs, and I got to live in their cute little backyard cottage with its own entrance and everything. The only weird thing was how the old man would sometimes wave at me from his kitchen window like he knew me, but I figured he was just being friendly. Anyway, last month was my cousin Danny's graduation party, so I drove home for the weekend. The whole family was there, aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't seen in forever. Everyone crowded around my grandma's dining room table, sharing stories and catching up on gossip. My Uncle Pete started talking about how Grandpa Harold had been doing since Grandma died 3 years ago. He mentioned that Grandpa was still renting out his little guest house to help with expenses, which made sense since his pension wasn't huge. "Where's that house again?" I asked, not really paying attention while I was stealing chips from my cousin's plate. "Oh, it's over on Maple Street in your college town," Uncle Pete said. "You know, the White House with the big lemon tree and that annoying wind chime Grandma loved so much." I literally choked on my drink. "Wait, what's the address?" "1247 Maple Street, why?" My jaw hit the floor. That was my address. The address I'd been living at for 2 whole years. Everyone started laughing because they thought I was joking when I told them I lived there. So I pulled out my phone and showed them pictures of the garden, the stupid wind chime that kept me awake some nights, and the lemon tree I'd been stealing fruit from. Uncle Pete's face went white. "No way. You're the girl Harold keeps talking about who plants those weird mushrooms by the shed?" Turns out my grandpa had been watching me on his security cameras this whole time, the ones he installed to keep raccoons away from his garbage. He'd seen me doing my laundry, studying on the little porch, and apparently planting what he called weird mushrooms, but were actually just some decorative garden stakes I'd bought at the dollar store. The craziest part was that he never recognized me because I'd been using my nickname Rosa on all the rental paperwork, instead of my full name Rosalina. Plus, I dyed my hair black and lost like 30 pounds since high school, so I looked totally different from the chubby blonde kid he remembered. I called him that night, hands shaking while I dialed. When he picked up, I said, "Grandpa, it's Rosa, your tenant." Long pause. Then he started laughing so hard I thought he might hurt himself. "You're kidding me," he kept saying. "You're the mushroom girl? My own granddaughter?" He told me he'd been bragging to his poker buddies about his responsible young tenant who takes such good care of the place. He'd even been planning to offer me a discount next year because I was such a good renter. The next day, he drove over with a plate of his famous cookies and officially released me from my lease. Said if I graduated, the place was mine rent-free until I found a real job.